Around the world to stories here at home. This is the national news broadcast. A pleasant evening. I'm Dilanjali Ananda.
A very good evening to you. I am Dishan Virakon, and we start off by taking a look at your headlines for tonight.
The government says the 5,000 rupee allowance has been provided today to more than 1.1 million Samurdhi and low-income families. The cancer-causing coconut oil stock has been returned to the relevant country. China provides to Sri Lanka financial assistance amounting to $500 million. 125 kilos of narcotics of the ice variety have been taken into custody. The Hambantota Wild Elephant Management Protectorate has been gazetted.
Now, starting off with your top story for tonight. Now, the provision of the 5,000 rupee allowance to the Samurdhi beneficiaries and low-income families in connection with the new year has commenced today. More than 3 million families are to be benefited. The government has spent a sum of 15 billion rupees in this regard. The allowance has been provided according to a request of the government parliamentarians on the instructions of the President and the Prime Minister. Now, the Presidential Task Force for Economic Revival and the Elimination of Poverty under the leadership of Basil Rajapaksa and the Samurdhi Development Department are jointly implementing the program. Recipient families of 7 categories out of the 10 categories of families that had received the 5,000 rupee allowance last time have been selected as eligible families of the current program. Accordingly, 1,761,226 Samurdhi families and 713,975 low-income families as well as 417,000 families receiving adult allowance are eligible to receive the 5,000 rupee allowance. 72,000 families receiving the disability allowance and 39,000 families receiving the kidney disease allowance and 465 families receiving the adult allowance for having individuals over the age of 100 years are also entitled to receive the government allowance. The 5,000 rupee allowance presentation program has got underway from the Dharmadutta Ashrama Viharasthane in Obesakara Pura Rajakiriya today. The program for handing over the 5,000 rupee allowance in the Kaduwa Division Secretariat Division has taken place at the Sri Vijaya Sumanarama Viharasthane and at a Vikramasingapura Community Hall. The 5,000 rupee allowance was also provided to low-income families in the Ratmalana Divisional Secretariat Division. The 5,000 rupee allowance was also provided at 86 Samurdhi banks in the Gampaha district. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga has also participated on the occasion of the presentation of the 5,000 rupee allowance in the Minuwangoda electorate. The handing over of the 5,000 rupee allowance in the Mattugama Divisional Secretariat Division was also conducted successfully today. The provision of the 5,000 rupee allowance in the Millania Divisional Secretariat Division has taken place at several locations today. The 5,000 rupee allowance was also distributed at the Mamadua Gramanilai office in Vavuniya. 4 Samurdhi banks of the Padukka Division Secretariat Division office also took place in the handing over of the 5,000 rupee allowance for Samurdhi beneficiaries and persons with disabilities. Measures have also been taken to provide the 5,000 rupee allowance for low-income families in the Kadawat Satara Divisional Secretariat Division in Gaul. The payment of the allowance has also taken place at the Meepitiya Samurdhi Bank premises in Kegaul today. The 5,000 rupee allowance was also provided at the Wakamuna Samurdhi Bank office in the Alahara Divisional Secretariat Division in Polonnaruwa. Our correspondents also say that the 5,000 rupee allowance was also paid at the Trincomalee district today. State Minister Shehan Semasinga was also present at the handing over of the 5,000 rupee allowance at the Salayapura Samurdhi Bank office in Anuradhapura today.
The Punya Kalaya of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year will dawn at 8-9 p.m. tomorrow. Sri Lankans are getting ready to celebrate the New Year by leaving all work and giving prominence to religious observances. The Punya Kalaya will prevail from 8-9 p.m. on Tuesday, the 13th of April to 8:57 a.m. on the following day. The New Year dawns at 2:33 a.m. on Wednesday, the 14th of April. It is appropriate to prepare milk rice mixed with goat milk and sweet meat mixed with mung beans by setting up a hearth facing eastern direction, dressed in light green coloured clothes at the auspicious time of 6:17 a.m. on Wednesday, the 14th of April. It is appropriate to engage in the rituals of Vada Allima, Ganudanu Kirima and Ahara Anubhavaya, dressed in light green attire at the auspicious time of 7:41 a.m. on Wednesday, the 14th of April. Planting of saplings should be conducted facing eastern direction at the auspicious time of 6:40 am on Friday, the 16th of April. The Navasanda Balime Nakatha falls on Friday, the 16th of April. Bathing should be carried out using nanu and oil mixed with nuga leaves, and also by placing nuga leaves on the head and karandapat on the feet at the auspicious time of 7:16 am on Saturday, the 17th of April, facing the southern direction, dressed in blue-colored clothes. It is appropriate to leave for work at the auspicious time of 6:39 am on Monday, the 19th of April, dressed in white clothing after consuming a meal of milk rice mixed with ghee oil and sweetmeats.
In the meantime, China has granted financial assistance amounting to $500 million to Sri Lanka. The relevant agreement in this connection was signed in Beijing City in China today. A media release issued by the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in Sri Lanka says that the aid has been extended under the Foreign Currency Term Financing Facility. The signatories to the agreement were the China Development Bank and the Sri Lankan Finance Ministry. This was the second tranche of the total 2 billion yuan plus $1 billion supported by China to Sri Lanka after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, the central banks of the two countries have also entered into a bilateral currency swap agreement in early last month, amounting to $1.5 billion, valid for a period of 3 years, with a view to promoting bilateral trade and direct investments for eco-social development of the two countries.
105 metric tons of coconut oil containing the cancer-causing substance aflatoxin imported to Sri Lanka from Malaysia was returned to the sender today. 3 tests carried out in Sri Lanka have confirmed the fact that cancer-causing aflatoxin was present in coconut oil imported to the island by 3 companies. Accordingly, 6 containers with 105 metric tons of unrefined coconut oil imported by 1 company was ordered to be turned back by the Department of Customs. The 6 containers were brought to the harbour terminal on the 6th of this month for re-export. A group of officials of the Customs Central Goods Investigation Unit were present at the SAGT terminal of the Colombo harbour to supervise the returning of the consignment. Director General of Customs, retired Major General Vijitha Ravipriya, said that a fine will also be recovered from the companies as shipping charges. The relevant companies have borne the entire expense incurred in the re-exporting of the harmful stocks of coconut oil. The ship Barbara, carrying the illicit coconut oil consignment, has left Colombo harbour for Malaysia this afternoon.
Now, the proposed Hambantota Wild Elephant Management Protectorate has been gazetted. State Minister Vimala Veera Dissanayake has taken the relevant measures in this connection. The Wildlife Management Protectorate is comprised with an extent of 28,746 hectares. The proposed airport site with an extent of 866 hectares has been withdrawn through the Gazette notification. A group of farmers were engaged in a satyagraha in Suryavava recently, requesting to gazette the Hambantota Elephant Management Protectorate. The Gazette notification covers the areas of Hambantota, Suryavava, Lunugamwehera and Thanamalwila belonging to the districts of Hambantota and Monaragala.
The police say it has been able to apprehend 125 kilos of ice variety narcotics in raids conducted in the past 3 days. Police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana says that 12 persons were also able to be taken into custody in this connection. An extensive investigation has commenced on the information received through interrogation of a suspect arrested with the narcotics in Wattala last Saturday. Accordingly, the police has been successful in apprehending 15 kilos of the ice narcotic from a house in Nivananda in Jaila yesterday. Further interrogations conducted on this occasion have led to the detection of another 110 kilos of ice narcotic from Mabima in Raghavatha, Sapugaskanda. The Police Anti-Narcotic Bureau was in charge of the investigations. The police media spokesman at a media briefing today further said that a kilo of ice narcotic currently being sold at 10 million rupees. Police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana said that a suspect was taken into custody today. He was a resident of Marbola. Another suspect was apprehended in Vanavasala, who was a resident of Pethiagoda in Kalania. The police media spokesman added that it has been possible to arrive at the holding places following interrogations conducted on the two suspects. He also said that further questionings have also revealed that a person named Nipuna staying in the United Arab Emirates was in charge of the drug ring. It has also been revealed that, however, the sending of the stock of drugs to Sri Lanka has been organized by most wanted criminals named Ruben and Lal, currently staying in two foreign countries.
Now, the government headed by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa have made all preparations to provide permanent solutions to the long-standing problems of the people in the north. This was stated by Governor of the Northern Province, Mrs. P.S.M. Charles, at a discussion at the National Development Media Centre. Governor of the Northern Province, Mrs. P.S.M. Charles, said that the concept of the President is to provide realistic solutions to the problems of the people in the Northern Province after identifying their difficulties. She added that the President has handed over to her the post of Governor with this expectation in mind. The Governor further said that the President has given his approval to resolve the water problem being experienced by the people of Jaffna for a long time. Several water projects under the guidance of the President and the Prime Minister are already being implemented. The development of rivers is also taking place, and a sum of 200 million rupees has been provided in this regard. Now, the Health Ministry says that it is necessary to act with vigilance on the protective health measures during the festive season. Meanwhile, India has been recorded today as the country with the second highest number of corona-infected persons by surpassing Brazil. The epidemiology unit says so far 925,242 persons have been inoculated with the AstraZeneca vaccine. The Sinopharm vaccine has also been provided to 2,669 Chinese nationals living in Sri Lanka. The number of recoveries from the COVID-19 has reached 91,775. Another 2,940 patients are undergoing treatment. Another 182 COVID-19 patients were detected in the island today.
India overtook Brazil as the country with the second highest number of coronavirus infections, while Bangladesh halted international flights and shut offices as a new wave of COVID-19 cases continues to surge in South Asia. Coronavirus pandemic has killed over 2.93 million people and infected over 136.1 million globally. The South Asian region, home to almost a quarter of the world's population, has been hit by soaring infection rates in recent weeks. India reported a new daily record of more than 168,000 cases today to take the total to 13.5 million cases, above Brazil's 13.48 million. Experts have blamed coronavirus complacency and frustration of the surge. In the meantime, hundreds of thousands of maskless Hindu devotees thronged the banks of the Ganges River for the ritual bath as part of the Kumbh Mela festival in the holy city of Haridwar. The huge religious festivals and political rallies in poor-bound states have been widely accused as cases grow among the population of 1.3 billion. The United States, the worst-hit country, lead the global tally with 31.2 million cases. In neighboring Bangladesh, bus and train services continue to be overwhelmed after the government ordered an 8-day closure of all offices and international and domestic transport from Wednesday. Tens of thousands of people have flocked the Dhaka's main bus, train and ferry stations to flee the capital ahead of the shutdown. The country of 160 million people has recorded 684,700 cases and 9,700 deaths, yet a number of daily cases has increased sevenfold in the month. Meanwhile, Brazil, which has become the global epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic in recent weeks, recorded over 37,000 new cases and over 1,800 new COVID deaths in the last 24 hours. With over 353,000 deaths, Latin America's biggest country has the second highest coronavirus death toll in the world after the United States.
Now, switching focus to UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson says that today is a major step forward for England's roadmap to freedom as further coronavirus restrictions are lifted.
4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, take your seats. Have your first drinks. Please come down.
Brits rejoiced on Monday as pubs reopened for the first time in months, racing to grab a drink as the clock struck midnight.
Well, after 14 months of not going anywhere, except funerals, it's a great plus. Yeah.
Hairdressers, gyms, and other shops are also set to reopen Monday. For now, pubs and restaurants will be restricted to serving outdoors, as dine-in services won't resume until May 17th at the earliest. Non-essential stores like home and fashion chains will reopen in Wales as well as England, although residents of Scotland will need to wait another 2 weeks. Hundreds of thousands of businesses have been shut since early January, when England entered a third national lockdown to curb a more highly contagious local variant of the coronavirus. A speedy vaccination campaign has cut COVID-19 cases by some 90% since peaking in January, and COVID-19 deaths by 95%. That progress will allow the staged easing of lockdown to proceed in what British Prime Minister Boris Johnson called a major step towards freedom. Persuading Brits to reopen their wallets as they return to some kind of normalcy is key to the country's recovery. Official data released last month showed that 2020 was the British economy's worst year in more than 3 centuries, with UK retailers having lost an estimated £27 billion or $37 billion in sales during lockdowns.
China is exploring the option of mixing different COVID-19 vaccines as a solution to the relatively low efficacy of its existing jabs, the head of the country's Center for Disease Control and Prevention has said.
China's top disease control official has said the country is formally considering mixing COVID-19 vaccines as a way of further boosting vaccine efficacy. Available data shows Chinese vaccines lag behind others, including Pfizer and Moderna, in terms of efficacy, but require less stringent temperature controls during storage. Gao Fu, the director of the Chinese Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on Saturday, said the current available vaccines, quote, don't have very high rates of protection, adding, quote, inoculation using vaccines of different technical lines is being considered. Gao said that taking steps to optimize the vaccine process, including changing the number of doses and the length of time between doses, was a definite solution to the efficacy issues. China has developed 4 domestic vaccines approved for public use, and an official said on Saturday that the country will likely produce 3 billion doses by the end of the year. A COVID-19 vaccine developed by China's Sinovac was found to have an efficacy rate of slightly above 50% in Brazilian clinical trials. A separate study in Turkey said it was 83.5% effective. No detailed efficacy data has been released on vaccines made by China's Sinopharm. A World Health Organization panel said in March that both vaccine makers have presented data on their COVID-19 vaccines indicating levels of efficacy in line with those required by the WHO. China has shipped millions of its vaccines abroad, and officials and state media have fiercely defended the shots while calling into question the safety and logistics capabilities of other vaccines.
Meanwhile, the life of Prince Philip was celebrated at church services across Britain yesterday, with the Archbishop of Canterbury praying for those who had found that the death of Queen Elizabeth's husband had left a very great gap in their lives.
As part of 8 days of national mourning, people gathered at royal palaces to leave flowers.
Meet in tribute to His Royal Highness
while religious and political leaders expressed support for the 94-year-old Queen, the world's oldest and longest reigning monarch. Her husband, Prince Philip, who was officially known as the Duke of Edinburgh, died at Windsor Castle on Friday. He was 99. At Canterbury Cathedral on Sunday, Justin Welby, leader of the Global Anglican Communion, said the fact the Prince had lived to within 2 months of his 100th birthday did not soften the blow for those who had loved him.
Loss is loss. For each person it is felt individually and reaches into the heart variously. We cannot ever know how others feel, nor do 2 people feel the same. It is simply loss. Some bear it apparently easily, for others it is crushing.
Buckingham Palace have said the funeral would be held on Saturday, April 17th, marked with long-established plans redrawn and scaled down because of COVID-19 restrictions. There will be no public processions, and it will be held entirely within the grounds of Windsor Castle and limited to 30 mourners. Prince Harry will return from the US, but his wife Meghan, who is pregnant with their second child, will not on her doctor's advice, a topic of much discussion among mourners in Windsor.
Harry should come back. Meghan, I think there was like, okay, she's got her own issues with the monarchy, but there was like, Harry, I think, should be there for his grandfather.
I think Meghan should come with him, support him, try and show some unity. Part of me understands why she's not coming back, but I think that's a mistake.
It will be Harry's first trip back to the UK since an explosive interview last month given by the couple to Oprah Winfrey. Officials say they hope the occasion will help reunite the family and rebuild ties.
And more news at home. The Ratmalana Airport is to be developed as a centre for recreational air travel. The reconstruction program to turn the airport into a centre of civil air transportation will be carried out under the project to upgrade airports. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga says that new local air routes and new runways towards attractive tourist locations will have to be identified. Any obstructions that stand in the way to these identified places are scheduled to be relaxed. The airport development program will also be implemented to pave the way for international, commercial and institutional air travel as well as for private jet operations. The project has been planned with the special intention of bringing persons receiving higher incomes to Sri Lanka. The Ratmalana Airport would also facilitate technical stopover and fuel supply services for private aircraft. Operations at the Ratmalana Airport, suspended due to the spread of corona pandemic, had resumed on the 1st of January this year according to health guidelines. The Punya Kala of the Sinhala Tamil New Year will dawn at 8-9 p.m. tomorrow. Sri Lankans are getting ready to celebrate the New Year by leaving all work and giving prominence to religious observances. The Punya Kala will prevail from 8-9 p.m. on Tuesday, the 13th of April to 8:57 a.m. on the following day. The New Year dawns at 2:33 a.m. on Wednesday, the 14th of April. It is appropriate to prepare milk rice mixed with goat milk and sweetmeat mixed with mung beans by setting up the hearth facing eastern direction, dressed in light green coloured clothes at the auspicious time of 6:17 a.m. on Wednesday, the 14th of April. It is appropriate to engage in the rituals of Vada Alima, Ganudanu Kirima and Ahara Anubhava dressed in light green attire at the auspicious time of 7:41 a.m. on Wednesday, the 14th of April. Planting of saplings should be conducted facing eastern direction at the auspicious time of 6:40 a.m. on Friday, the 16th of April. The Navasanda Balime Nakatha falls on Friday, the 16th of April. Bathing should be carried out using nanu and oil mixed with nuga leaves and also by placing nuga leaves on the head and karandapat on the feet at the auspicious time of 7:16 a.m. on Saturday, the 17th of April, facing the southern direction, dressed in blue color clothes. It is appropriate to leave for work at the auspicious time of 6:39 a.m. on Monday, the 19th of April, dressed in white clothing after consuming a meal of milk rice mixed with ghee oil and sweetmeats.
And that's a wrap of tonight's Primetime News, and until we meet again next time, do take care and good night.
Good night.